Hey, what's up, rockers? Welcome to another episode of Let There Be Rock. Today we're talking about the women of rock and roll, the 1980s. What happens when a bank teller decides to become a rock and roll singer? Well, in 1979, you got Pat Benatar. The song was Heartbreaker. It was released in 1979, but it charts in 1980. So we're going to call this Heartbreaker 1980. What a great rhythm section back there. Just kind of explodes on you. Pat Benatar's voice to me is almost like Dio's voice or Bruce Dickinson's voice. It's massive. One of the biggest voices in rock and roll history. This song was everywhere. That hook. You don't love this, you just don't love rock and roll.
Don't you mess around with me, you're a heartbreaker, dream maker, love taker, don't you mess around with me, you're a heartbreaker, dream maker, love taker, don't you mess around with me, you're a heartbreaker, dream maker, love taker, heartbreaker.
In 1981, the Gogos came out with their album Beauty and the Beat. The big hit song on the album, Our Lips Are Sealed. Belinda Carlisle was the lead singer. And what I find interesting about the Gogos is they were geniuses at walking that delicate balance between the sounds of pop and punk. It was top 40 friendly, but your Blondie and Berlin fans also loved it. Let's listen to the Gogos, Our Lips Are Sealed, from 1981. The Gogos also kind of harken back to that beach sound, that Motown sound.
Can you hear that?
Belinda Carlisle didn't have the biggest voice ever, but it was a pleasant voice and it fit the music. It was any man rock and roll. I'll confess that as a kid, I wasn't a big Gogos fan. I mean, the song Vacation was a big hit and I liked it okay. But for the most part, the Gogos were just too clean for me. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to respect it. The year was 1981, and the co-lead singer of the band, Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks, decides to put out her debut solo album. The album was Belladonna, the song Edge of 17. And I can remember when this song came out just being shocked. I was doing a little reading about this earlier, and I found out that when she wrote this, it was because she was dealing with grief from first her uncle's death and the recent death in 1980 of John Lennon. Love those drums. And that rhythm section. And if anybody thought she couldn't do it without Fleetwood Mac, they were wrong. This album reaches number 11 on the Billboard Top 200, and it's one of 4 hits off the album. I love Stevie Nicks' haunting lyrics. Her vocals are awesome. And everybody was in love with Stevie Nicks. The year was 1984. The band Scandal, lead singer Patti Smythe. This band was a breakout sensation in the 1980s, and while they only put out one full-length LP, the song The Warrior, along with that video that was somewhat questionable, launched them to superstar status. In fact, such superstar status that when David Lee Roth left Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen actually considered hiring Patti Smythe as the lead singer. Man, that would have been different. Let's listen to Scandal, I Am the Warrior with Patti Smythe. Her voice is so big. But it's not operatic. It's not like a heart voice. It's very rock and roll. I can hear like a Susie Quattro influence on her. This is one of those bands I would love to see get back together. It's never going to happen. In fact, one of the members is dead now. But Patti Smythe was a legendary performer. I could hear that big voice as the lead singer of Van Halen. It would have been interesting. You can't talk about women who rock without talking about Joan Jett. And it was really hard for me to pick a song to look at for Joan Jett. There's so many great ones out there. We could have talked about her biggest hit, I Love Rock and Roll, that we all know, or her great cover, Crimson and Clover, or any of her songs fronting the Runaways. But instead, I want to go back and talk about the song I Hate Myself for Loving You. The year was 1988. I Hate Myself for Loving You was released on the 6th album by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and it does reach number 8 on the Billboard Top 100, where it stayed in the Billboard Top 100 for 26 weeks. That's 6 weeks longer than her biggest hit, I Love Rock and Roll. Let's listen to Joan Jett and the Blackhearts from 1988. Any version of Joan Jett, whether it be with the Runaways or the Blackhearts or whatever else she decides to do, always just sounds like biker rock to me. I can hear so much Susie Quattro in her sound. And she's amazing still today. Maybe not the most perfect voice ever, but the attitude in the voice is sold so well. It just feels like rock and roll. There was never anybody cooler than Joan Jett. What I love about Joan Jett is her hooks. You just can't help but just bounce your head and sing along with it. What attitude.